Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a review. Alright, with that we're going to get into today's review, which is for Triangle Sadness. And in this movie, a fashion model celebrity couple join an eventful cruise for the super rich. So I'm going to talk to 5 points about the film that stood out to me, and then I'll give my letter grade and kind of wrap my thoughts up at the end. So first up, what stood out to me about the film was there are a lot of single takes or like long takes, and I really liked that about the film. So the cinematography was very good, and yeah, anytime you can work that into a film, even if it's not an action film, I think it's most impressive for action films. But kind of anytime, I think that works really well. The another point that this is kind of early on in the film, but the yeah, it was. I appreciated how awkward it made me feel for the date very early on, and just the situation as the two characters are discussing things, and it's a sort of feeling where you don't really want to watch and you hate that you have to watch it, but it just makes for an interesting experience. The Office TV show is really good at making you feel that way, but it doesn't always come through, or like not a lot of movies necessarily do that, but. Yeah, so that's point number two. Excuse me. Point number three. Um, this is just a really kind of random story. I sat there in the theater kind of thinking like, whose brain did this kind of originate in? And that's not to say like anything against them. It's strange, but like also kind of entertaining for that. So thankful that they had the idea for this movie, but it's still pretty weird. There's a lot of like you probably wouldn't want to watch this movie over dinner. It would probably be kind of hard to stomach food while watching this movie. The kind of flowing off of that, point number four, the third act was pretty slow for me. I think the first two acts generally worked, but the third act just dragged on and was a bit long. So I think they could have, from like an editing standpoint, could have maybe like dialed that back a bit or reined it in, cut a bit more out of it. But yeah, that's that. I thought the pacing it got a little strung out. And then the last point, at one point in the film, you have several characters kind of quoting different, I think like communist leaders or people. And I thought it was interesting that by the end of the film, it really kind of puts that. I mean, it's a little Lord of the Flies where it's just kind of anyone who can be in charge, or like just because you had something before, it's. I mean, it's a little bit of a survival for that, but where the kind of communist perspective comes in, maybe I don't know my stuff. Could be completely ignorant on my part, but this is at least my current understanding and what I was reflecting on in the film. It was interesting once they got to the island, it basically removed all prior status and then said, how do we make things work, and kind of bringing everybody down to the same level, and seeing how hierarchy then is kind of reestablished based off of who's useful when you're stranded on an island was kind of interesting. So yeah, it was an interesting film. Kind of wrapping things up, I give this a letter grade of a B. It's not one I would go out of my way to recommend, but I thought it was worth the watch. And yeah, I thought it was shot beautifully. It was fairly funny throughout, but also kind of disturbing and just still interesting of a movie. So I enjoyed it. It's maybe tends a little bit more on the morbid side as well for its sense of humor, just a little bit. But yeah, I was entertained, and I enjoyed the movie. So if you had a chance to see it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.